So this is for sure not going to be a lighthearted video. This is definitely going to be a heavier and more emotional video. And there's a reason for that. I mean, I make two kinds of videos. I think I'm realizing one's where I just sort of have a rant that I just have to get off my chest, and then I have those that I think about for a day or two, where I process a little bit more thoroughly, and I don't necessarily think about what I'm going to say in advance, but I'm sharing more of a processed thought. And I made this video, actually a rant version of this, yesterday, and I realized that I dropped more F-bombs in it than I did talk about anything particularly productive. So I'm redoing it. And basically I want to talk about gaslighting and the way that people are doing it and the terminology people are using, because if you wanna be weak-minded and a weak-minded lazy thinker, WMLT, I'm gonna post videos about it. I'll be coming for you, and if you want to post it in the comments, I feel like my subscribers are like family at this point. I like to sit down and I like to have a conversation with you all, and I like to feel like I'm talking one-on-one with every single one of you. So if you want to post weak-minded, lazy thinking comments, then they're going to be coming for you too. So I just want to make that clear. But gaslighting, it's basically where you try to psychologically use psychological means to make somebody question their sanity. The reason I bring this up is because let's think about the terms that people are using for women, because I don't feel like this is really a race issue at this point. I feel like this is a human issue, and I feel like this is a male-female issue, and I feel like this is just such a disrespectful thing. Like, we have comments calling women that are interested in interracial dating bedwenches and ghetto gaggers, and I mean all kinds of horrible things, saying it's a fetish. If you're a black woman and you want to, it's interesting because as a white male, there's a lot of comments about it's a fetish for me to like a black female, but you have to understand it's mutual. And so why isn't, it's not like everybody that comments, it's not like they're saying all your subscribers have a fetish, all these black women have a white fetish. It's like, it's all really meant to make you question your sanity. It's really, it's very, very lazy thinking from people that are insecure, from people that have some sort of triggers or issues that they haven't processed. And the reason I want to bring this up is let's think about what's being said here, because we have some real life examples of horrific conditions for women where women have had to make horrible choices, and slavery undeniably was one of them. I mean, we had 15 slave states, and we had there was 300 plus thousand slave owners, and bad things happened. Awful things happened, and these women had to make horrible choices. And it's not the first time in world history that this has happened. Things like this are still going on. This happened in Germany in World War II, and probably some of the worst, most horrific stuff that we can think about. We had Jewish women that were I mean, first off, there were camps. There were camps that were just for women. They were just female camps. Auschwitz too is one that would be really popular and people would understand and know about. There was a big one, I think, in the early 40s that the Soviet Union sort of liberated, and then most of them were brought to Auschwitz too. But we're not talking about 200 years ago. We're talking about people who could still be alive today that were victimized like this. We're talking about people who could be telling their grandchildren about this. So we're not talking about, we're talking 75 years ago. And these women, if they were pregnant and they were brought in, they would force them to have abortions. They would kill the child that this woman made with the man that she loved, who most likely was in a different camp or killed, and they would put them into brothels for the SS soldiers to boost their morale. And now these women are, you know, they have to, in some cases, they would even get them pregnant. And then if they didn't think that the kids would Germanize well, like if they didn't think they would fit into German society well, then they would either kill them or you know, do another forced abortion. And there were hundreds of these brothels, and these women were subjected to horrible, horrible things that, you know, could you imagine if you were, if a Jewish man saw a Jewish woman dating a German man? And, or, you know, I have German ancestry. Like, if a Jewish woman and I were dating and he started making up slurs for her, started calling her, what, a swastika gagger, or, you know, I mean, could you imagine that? But here we have, in my comments section, we have people that are seeking love. We're talking about relationships. We're talking about loving each other and supporting each other and sharing life together and creating life together. And we have men that are doing the same thing. They're disrespecting their ancestors. They're disrespecting these women that were that had these horrible sex crimes committed against them, and they're calling these women now ghetto gaggers, and, you know, saying that nobody's gonna like them unless it's a fetish. Why would you put that in somebody's head? If somebody's already struggling with the idea of interracial dating because of whatever reason, they don't think they'll be liked, they're worried about this, they're worried about judgment, they're worried about family, and then you say, what, no white man's gonna like you unless it's a fetish? Why would you, what do you get out of it? What do you get out of saying that? What do you get out of minimizing the horrible acts that were committed against women? What do you get out of calling women now a ghetto gagger or a bedwench? Because it's a very common, it's very, very common. I have 30, 40, 50 comments where it's, you know, that's going on. And this isn't just men, it's women as well. There's very, very, very weak-minded women attempting to prey on people's fears and trying to gaslight them, and they're making videos, extremely lazy videos. These aren't new thoughts. They're just parroting something to create and instill fear and gaslight people, to say, oh, look, this person, you're just a fetish to this person, or this person, you know, just, why? I guess I just don't understand why reduce another human that's looking for a loving relationship. Why, because of their partner selection, why would you choose to reduce them to something asexual? B, if you have such an opposition to that partner selection based on ancestry, then why would you disrespect on such an enormous level your own ancestors? And these women that were raped and that were probably, you know, these women that were slaves, they were captured, they were brought to America, they didn't get to have loving relationships, they didn't get to have rewarding dynamics with their children, they were raped, they were probably, in all honesty, thrown away by, like trash by some men, and yet you are going to, these women that have given you life, that have literally, they're your ancestors, you're going to start saying things like bedwench and ghetto gagger. And I mean, could you really actually fathom if Jewish men said things like that to Jewish women? I mean, it's really unbelievable. And the fact that the women are willing to do it too, I mean, What is scaring you all so much? Why are you so afraid of a black woman and a white man having open dialogue and communicating with each other and loving each other and sharing emotions and feelings and experiences and life and creating a life together and having a partnership? Is this that threatening to you? Explain why. Just explain. We have the comments right down here. You're making videos, but you're not explaining anything. You're telling everybody you're creating the narrative. You're telling people what's happening. You're not explaining anything though. You're just picking something you heard somebody else say, like a parrot, and you're just repeating it. And you're doing it for what reason? I noticed one of these women was like a panhandler. She made a video about this to warn everybody, which really means to try to benefit herself. And you know, I pinned comments that I think are gonna, I pinned comments for the edification of us all, right? They're down there to see. You know, sometimes they're positive, sometimes they're in complete opposition to me, sometimes they're just funny. But this woman was pinning a comment panhandling or begging her viewers for money. It literally was a link to her PayPal as she, you know, spreads this fear and this disdain and this hate. And it's no better than the news stations. It's no better than everybody else that's just trying to create division against us, except you're trying to get in people's heads. You're trying. That's what you're doing your best job of doing. You're trying to spread this message of darkness or hate. And I'm, you know, one life, one chance. Like, I'm here to just love the shit out of everybody that I can. And I've struggled like everybody else has struggled. And I am just trying to pass along some of my lessons that I've learned in life to you so that you can feel better in yourself and on your journey. But trying to question, you know, when you have people trying to question their self-identity or their own judgment or their own thinking or their own logic by... It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're not going to win. The light is always going to win. That's just how it's going to be. Like, and I will call you out on all of it. And when you comment, I'm going to take your power away because I will make a video about all of it. If you want to call people bedwenches or reduce them to fetishes, or you want to call them whatever, and you want to make light of the rape and horrible sexual crimes that were committed and assaults that were committed against women in the past, if you want to make light of it, that's fine. But I'm going to call you on it every single time. And I'm going to let you know that you're being weak-minded and lazy thinking. Weak-minded, lazy thinking. WMLT. And I'm going to post it on every comment that I see that is just ignoring all of this. Ignoring like any positivity or message of unity or anything. I'm going to post it, and it's just going to be WMLT because we've heard it. We're not afraid. We're not changing our minds. We're not going to be like, oh my God, I'm not going to interracial date because these ignorant people think it's a fetish, and these ignorant people are willing to bring up awful things and try to leverage fear and put fear in us based on horrific shit that happened to women in the past. And it's not a race issue. It's a human issue. It's a woman issue. It's a people issue. It's not... This has happened throughout all of the world, and to make light of it is just fucked. So, that was my only swear word in this video. 14 minutes and I got nothing else to say other than thank you all for watching. I care about every single one of you. I hope that you feel like... I hope you feel like we're a family because I really appreciate you all as well. So, that's it. That's all I got to say on this.